Welcome to the SUTV Sports Show. I'm Thomas Dianella.
And I'm Cairo Cook. The NFL season has come to the end with the Kansas City Chiefs being crowned Super Bowl champions for the second time in franchise history.
Quarterback Patrick Mahomes became the youngest player to ever win the NFL regular season and Super Bowl MVP, as he led his team to 3 straight comeback victories over the course of the playoffs.
Head coach Andy Reid also won his first Super Bowl after 21 seasons as head coach, the longest in NFL history. Thomas, what did you think of the game?
It was a great game. It definitely had a chance to not be.
Yeah.
The Niners, I thought the Niners were about to run away with it. But, they were up 20-10 going into the fourth quarter, tied at halftime, but Patrick Mahomes is insane.
He's really crazy. He's very agile, and then he's also very quick on his feet, which, I don't say this lightly, I can see him being an up-and-coming Tom Brady.
Definitely. He has the potential for sure. It's crazy to think he was a 10th overall pick. Many teams passed on him. I know some of them are regretting it now.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure they all are, even if they didn't need a quarterback that draft.
Yeah.
Because you can see, leading 3 straight comeback victories in the playoffs. One of them in the Super Bowl is just unheard of, in any sport, really.
It's really crazy. And then also Andy Reid coaching for 21 years with almost nothing to show for it. Mm-hmm. And I think that he is a great example of being very level-headed under pressure, and he has a great way of bringing his team together as we see them pull off these incredible wins.
Definitely, he finally got that monkey off his back. He's able to relax a little more, knowing his career's has something to show for it now.
He definitely has a ring for it now.
Yeah, but he's an amazing guy, amazing, one of the best coaches in the league, one of the most lovable coaches in the league.
Yeah.
It's I'm glad to see him finally get to the ring, and he has one of the best quarterbacks. He can lead the way for that.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is really he's definitely an up-and-comer for sure. And then his connection with Andy and Patrick just have a crazy, weird connection where
Definitely.
They're able to just know what's going to happen.
They have the potential to become a Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
I definitely would agree with that. That I would have to say that is not a duo I compare to lightly.
Yeah, it's hard to. They've won 6 rings.
Yeah, whether you like the Patriots or not, you can't disagree with the talent that comes with that.
Yeah, the greatest quarterback of all time. I think it's easy to say that. Probably the greatest coach of all time. They made it work when they didn't have it. Just like Kansas City, they don't have the best pieces, but they got exactly what they need. Get them a ring. Probably start a dynasty coming up.
I feel that coming up with it was also really. I felt like I was part of history watching a 50-year broken dry spell. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely.
So that really was. Definitely. It was a great game.
It was. With the Super Bowl now over, football fans' attentions now turn to the offseason, most notably free agency.
We now go to our reporter, Race Knutson, who had a look into what may happen with one of the greatest NFL players of all time, Tom Brady.
As you might have guessed from the apparel, the New England Patriots will be navigating one of the most controversial off seasons, perhaps in history, as renowned quarterback Tom Brady is entering free agency for the first time in his 20-year career. Now, there have been enormous rumors speculating even since the beginning of the 2019 season, starting with Tom Brady selling his home and moving to Connecticut, which is still within close proximity to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, but it sparked a lot of rumors about people suggesting that Tom Brady was getting ready to enter his free agency with the mindset to look elsewhere at other franchises. However, during the Super Bowl, a somewhat cryptic commercial began with Tom Brady. He started out in kind of black and white, entering the tunnel at Gillette Stadium and talking a little bit about how all things must come to an end. Gave the fans a little bit of a panic, but it turned out only to be a Hulu commercial. But the big kicker is at the conclusion, he said, "I'm not going anywhere." So as a Patriots fan myself, I know that Tom Brady is probably going to return to New England. There's no chance that a man who has spent the last 20 years, in fact, the entire 20 years of his football career, which itself is a feat. Most quarterbacks don't last longer than 15, 16 seasons, but Tom Brady has endured, and he's not going to go anywhere else. His franchise that he's familiar with the coaching staff. Josh McDaniels is returning. He wasn't hired as a head coach for any of the other franchises he interviewed with, but all that together, a lot of people are still saying, well, Tom Brady, he's looking for a new venue. Bill Belichick, he has the ultimate say. I think there's a lot of factors that are going to play into this, including cap space that the franchise has available. Tom Brady has typically taken a little bit of a discount to play with the Patriots, but he can still be within the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And a couple other things that could help, just getting a few more offensive pieces in there, making some trades, acquiring maybe the famous son of a former Patriot, Randy Moss. Thaddeus Moss is the tight end coming out of LSU. Perhaps that's a good draft choice. Just a few more offensive weapons to help Brady really solidify the offense. He's still throwing accurately, throwing precisely, throwing quickly, and he's never really been a mobile quarterback to begin with. A lot of people criticize Brady for that, but in 20 seasons, it took him to get 1,000 rushing yards. We know that Tom's never really been a mobile quarterback. So I don't think Tom's going to go anywhere. A lot of people are speculating, but I think he's going to stay in New England where he's comfortable, where he's familiar, and that's my personal opinion. But I think the odds are he's going to remain with the Patriots. And that's all I have. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Race. So, Cairo, what do you think is going to happen with the legend, Tom Brady?
He is a legend. I'll agree with that. I am a little more biased with this one. I am a fan of the Patriots, so I do think that Tom Brady is one of the greatest players in NFL history. I don't see him going anywhere, like to another team anytime soon. I could possibly see retirement. He is getting older, a little closer to the end of his career. There have been rumors that as soon as Belichick leaves, he's leaving as well, like retiring. But I couldn't see him wear other colors than red, white, and blue.
Yeah, it's hard to see him anywhere else. But if it's going to happen, I think it's this offseason. Whatever contract he signs right now, I think is going to be the last one he signs in his career.
Really?
Whether it's a 2-year deal with wherever,
Yeah.
Whenever he hits the end of that, I think that's it.
He is getting a little older for it, but you can't, like stated, he has never been that mobile of a quarterback, so he's always just been on his feet throwing.
Definitely.
And I think that it is a style that has gone out of, it's gone out of style.
It's out of the league now.
It's what people don't typically go for. But I think that he's too quick on his feet, or not too quick. Like he's just crazy, agile.
He's a smart man.
Very smart, and that's why I would compare Patrick Mahomes to him. Mm-hmm. Both are very, very quick. They can read the field like none other. They can find spaces that other people wouldn't normally be able to find.
Definitely.
But the Las Vegas Raiders, I think, are a pretty good chance to take him. But I think people might be reading a little too much into the move of the 30 miles away.
It's only 30 minutes. I've commuted that for work, many times. You saw Phillip Rivers, and when he was still lived in San Diego, commuted that drive to L.A. If he wants to be there, he can be there.
Yeah, plus he did say at the end of the commercial he's not going anywhere. Take it with a grain of salt, but I believe that he's still staying strong.
I think he will.
After the break, we'll take a look at one of the players not named in the NBA All-Star Game.
We'll be right back.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but she's putting him in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
February is here, which means it's almost time for the NBA All-Star break.
The league will announce the official teams tonight, and the list includes several players who are making their first appearance in the All-Star game.
However, every year, someone always seems to be left out. And one of this year's biggest snubs is Suns guard Devin Booker. Here's his initial reaction to not being selected.
Devin, just your initial reaction to the All-Star not being named.
More rest.
Is that
more rest?
More rest?
Yeah.
Booker is currently averaging 27 points and 6 assists per game while shooting over 50% from the field. He became one of 6 players in NBA history to put up such numbers and not make an All-Star team.
Hard not to be included in that bunch.
It was always a goal of mine. But it just reproves the point that the NBA is different than the game that I fell in love with at the beginning. All the best players made an All-Star game growing up watching that. And now it's an entertainment, drama, political field league. But we're a part of it now, so it pays well, so I guess we should be quiet about it.
Do you think that Booker got snubbed? And if so, who do you think he should replace?
He definitely got snubbed. He's having amazing stats all around. Six most points in the league now. Mm-hmm. He's an up-and-coming star that the NBA should want to put on display.
He's definitely a new up-and-comer for sure, but is there someone that you think he should replace on the team that made it
There's an argument to be made with Russell Westbrook.
Oh, would you say?
He's having a down season for his standards. Mm-hmm. He's still a good player, but when it comes to him versus Booker, I'd rather see Booker on the All-Star game, because you want to pull in more fans. You want the player that's going to be around longer. Westbrook's getting older in basketball age. Mm-hmm. Booker is only he's still young.
Yeah.
He's still a young stud. He still has plenty of room to grow on. He's someone you want to see on display.
Yeah, I definitely see that argument because Westbrook has been in the on the All-Star team for 8. This is his 8th pick now, or 8th time being chosen, and Booker hasn't been chosen at all. I would argue that Chris Paul.
Chris Paul is the other one, yes.
Yeah, I would say that Booker could easily replace Chris Paul. He's not. Chris Paul has not nearly as enough playing time as Booker does. Not as good at shooting. Not as many assists. Basically, all under.
Oh, definitely.
Booker. But in Westbrook's defense, he is shooting at 43.6%, which is under Booker. Booker is shooting over 50%, but he is averaging 3.3 points per game this season, higher than he is than his overall average of career.
Yeah.
His career.
Chris Paul is definitely not above Booker.
I would definitely agree with
Booker has 1,283 points this season. Chris Paul is at a whopping 815.
Yeah.
It's hard to put Paul over Booker.
He hasn't even hit that 1,000 mark.
Yeah, he's well below.
Yeah.
In playing 2 more games than Booker has, minutes have been less, but Booker's making more of an impact.
Yeah.
In his games.
But a lot of people are saying that this year, the pick has now been more of a popularity contest. So you see, there's LeBron James, James Harden. There's just so many names that Andy Gilbert. There's just too many. There's a lot of well-known people on there who have been on there before. Mm-hmm. I think it's time to give the under guy a shot. So I'd agree that Devin was snubbed, but I wouldn't replace him with Westbrook.
I could live with Booker replacing Paul. I can live in that world.
I think so.
Reporter Alex Schilling has an update on the world of esports this week.
Esports fans are in for a treat with new partnerships, a new year of competitions, and more. Nike expanded its presence in the esports scene with new partnerships in January. League of Legends teams T1, Vodafone Giants, and SK Gaming joined the ever-expanding list of teams that Nike has signed exclusive apparel contracts with. Now on to the actual games. Overwatch League is making a return this weekend with a new format for teams. Teams have been split into new conferences and divisions to better appeal to local fans. The 20 teams are split into Pacific and Atlantic conferences with 5 teams per division and 2 divisions per conference. Fans can view the matches online or in person if the teams are playing in their area. There will be 52 events, so you're sure to be able to find one somewhat nearby. First weekend of matches will take place in New York City and Dallas with 4 matches each. League of Legends also has some regional competitions starting up this weekend. The Japan and Pacific Championships are joining the already busy schedule, with 2 more starting up later in the month. With 12 regional championships overall, there are dozens of upcoming games across every time zone. Finally, the latest World of Warcraft Race for World First is off to a great start. There's been 24/7 coverage via live streams, and it's the final race for players willing to do the mythic versions of the raids. Die-hard fans have been excited to see Europe and America's best guilds take down bosses at a level few players actually managed to achieve. The race received over 7 million hours worth of views in its over 7 days worth of streaming. That's it for esports. When we come back to part 2 of the soccer miniseries.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple. It's like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
Toxic chemicals and carcinogens are leaching into the environment. It's happening right where we live, work, and play. Everywhere. Cigarette butts are toxic waste. Let's stop the toxic litter. Learn more at rethinkbutts.org.
Last week, we showed you the start of a journey for Bree Aldridge and Danny Murray, who first committed to Mississippi State to play soccer before coming to SUU.
This week, our reporter Kurt Meekum shows us what happened to them at Mississippi State to put their future in soccer in question.
Okay.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long. I'm trying to really think.
2 years ago. Okay, I know. It shows you how much I want to forget about it. Okay.
After Aldridge and Moret arrived at Mississippi State, they knew they would have to work hard.
Being in the SEC, you're at a really, really high conference, and you're playing with the best in the nation, and so it's really insanely competitive. Obviously, we both committed there knowing, like, it's no secret, it's Division I soccer. Like, it should be competitive. It should be that way. And so it didn't really come as a surprise.
But they quickly found out that their head coach took things to another level. Even before his time in the SEC, Anagas had a reputation of being hard on his players, often crossing the line. The treatment of his players at MSU was no different.
This coach took a very, very, very hard stance in everything we did. If you made a mistake, he would say, you know, get the off our field. You're not good enough. He would just degrade every single person on a deeper level. And slowly, especially being a freshman, just the confidence just kept going down and down and down.
He also forced his players to put soccer above everything else.
One of my other teammates, her friend actually died. And when she asked him if she could attend the funeral, he was basically like, if you go, I don't know if you're choosing soccer or your friend, when it was a funeral. And it was preseason. Like, nothing had even started. It was crazy.
Aldridge developed an injury her only season with the Bulldogs and was not able to pass one of the many fitness tests required before playing. She never heard the end of it from her coach.
So he pulled me into his office and told me basically that you are a distraction to this team, you're not what we want, you are not a good person on this team, you're distracting the whole team, you're one of the worst people on this team that I've ever met, you have no character, you are on the bottom of our list.
The day after this encounter, Anagas continued to berate Aldridge, but this time in front of her team.
We were about to run hills and none of us knew why, and they were like, and help me with this if I forget, but he was like, do you guys know why we're all standing here? And everyone was like, no, and he was like, Bree Aldridge. He's like, Bree Aldridge. People like her will not be on this team next year. People like her do not deserve to be here. People like her are not the kind of people we want on this team. And we just kept running and running and running for like an hour straight. And people were, it was just very, puking, it was bad.
Push-ups in between sets.
Moret and Aldridge also both had family emergencies and went to their coach expecting and understanding. What they got was the complete opposite.
My uncle had passed away during the season, and so I had missed, he actually though let me miss practice because I was just a mess, so I called the trainer and I was like, I can't come to practice today, is that okay? But then not even a week or two after, he had told me that it was a mistake to let you stay home when or to stay away from practice when your uncle died. He goes, I was way too easy on you. That's never a reason not to put soccer first. You should always be here. He goes, that was another character flaw on your part, and I should have never let that fly.
And then my mom actually unfortunately had a heart attack in the middle of my season. And so at practice, Tom was insanely rude to me, screamed at my face literally the day after my mom almost died. She was still in the hospital, as I was at practice. And I had a panic attack on the field. And he basically called me into a meeting later on that day, and I was like, oh sweet, he's gonna apologize to me. This is great. I'm gonna set my foot down, tell him that was wrong, that he treated me that way the day after my mom almost died. And I went in, and it was him and the assistant coach, and they just ripped me a new one. And they were like, you were a distraction to the team, we're a D1 program, you shouldn't have been there, you should have removed yourself from practice, when they hadn't even communicated that I didn't have to be at practice that day.
One of the final straws for the Friends was when Anagas attempted to pit them against each other, something that Moret would not allow.
And he actually tried to pit some animosity between me and Bree by saying, I don't know if Bree's good for you, blah, 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 because she hadn't passed some fitness tests, which is ridiculous because she's one of the best. She is the best person I know. She's an amazing person.
Shortly after the 2017 season, both players left the program, but not without wondering what their futures would hold.
After that and seeing what she had gone through and just how horrible the environment was, I was like, you know what? I need to take myself out of this environment. It was such a hard decision. I actually didn't quit till the middle of December because I was just thinking about it because I loved it, but he honestly ruined the sport for me. So.
But I just didn't feel, as I got to that school, the deep level of care. I didn't feel like he really cared about me on a deeper level, and so it was really hard being shot down with my confidence and being talked down to, and others around us every single day, to just have the drive on top of that to then go through all that extra stuff of peeing in cups and all the film and there all day, every day, all night, just all of that, it just didn't feel worth it. It was draining mentally, and just for me, I just wasn't happy anymore. And so I couldn't figure out, is it soccer I'm not happy with anymore, or is it the coaching I'm not happy with anymore? Because everyone felt the same way about the coach, but I didn't want to be, a complainer and blame it on somebody else. But I think there's just a fine line of you got to compete, but you also got to respect your players and coaches at the same time.
That was a terrible story to hear.
That was. It's awful for college athletes to, to work their entire lives for something and have it, in just a year removed.
Yeah, it really is.
For personal reasons.
Yeah, I personally don't think, of course it depends on the sport and the player, but 99% of the time, to encourage your players to be better is not telling them that they suck. Get off my field. You'll never go anywhere. There are times like football, wrestling, and the more aggressive sports where the coaching does come in, where they have to kind of get that aggressive to get the players' blood pumping, but girls' soccer, I don't think it's that place because it's not that aggressive. Soccer as a whole is not that aggressive as a sport. But it just...
Yeah, that's just the wrong place for it. awful they had to go through it, but, you know, they're SU now outside of that situation now. That's a good thing. SU men's basketball is in the middle of their best season in over 10 years. The team is 13-8 so far on the season and still have 10 games left in the regular season schedule.
Our reporter McKay Pett has a rewind on their last win, an 80-75 thriller against Idaho State.
We got bounce back here, okay? We got dialed in. Only thing that matters is our business. Just handle our business, we're gonna be just fine, okay? All right? We need everybody in this thing together. We're gonna be really positive, relentless positivity toward our goals.
And the Thunderbirds looking to bounce back against the Idaho State Bengals. Inside to Aluyatan, he goes by and lays it up and in. Marine goes to the basket, hands it off to Butler, and he scores. Mason comes to the high post. Jacoby to the basket, puts it up over the top and in. Up to Butler, Butler to Knight. Knight underneath to Aluyatan, and he scores. Knight takes right, left, goes right, all to the basket, lays it in, and he was fouled. Long gets it over, Aluyatan stops, he'll shoot a three. From out on top, he knocks it down. Well, here's Butler. Butler's going to go coast to coast and dunk it. Butler with a huge Butler comes down. No advantage. He got it to Marine who laid it in. He gets it out to Aluyatan. Aluyatan dunks it. And as Dunk makes it 78-72.
Consistency in everything we do.
Family on 30, 1, 2, 3. Family.
One thing to remember is that things have not always been great for this team. They have taken some losses this season and even some close games that a lot of people don't feel like should have been close. Thomas, what do you think is going on with the team?
Well, this is an electric team. You know, this is, like I said, the best team in at least 10 years, if not more.
Yeah.
You know, they got all the right pieces they need for this year. You know, they can definitely go into the Big Sky tournament, come out with a trophy, if not go even past the Big Sky tournament.
I can definitely see that for our team. We got some strong players. Cameron with his shooting game is incredible. Jared Hoppo with his three-pointers is awesome. I think an overlooked one for sure is Jacoby Long.
Yes,
I think
definitely.
he is a crazy strong player.
He has come out in some games that we really needed, and he's produced.
For sure.
You know, he's, I think, second on the team or third on the team with block or steal. Sorry, he's up there as well with points as well. You know, he's producing at a good rate. You know,
He's
and what we
keeping
need.
up. Another big one, a big player on the team that I think gets overlooked is Dre Marine.
Definitely.
He is a strong shooter, great defender as well. He's really awesome on defense and offense. I think he's able to switch on a dime.
He's definitely one of those players Todd Timon can go to, you know, to depend on.
Yeah.
You know, he's him, Cam, you know, Dwayne Morgan, Butler, Fawcett, John Knight. They're all Andre Adams, definitely. You know, he's kind of been forgotten this year, but he's been producing as well.
He is really this has been I haven't seen my entire time living in Cedar. I haven't seen a team this good.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I thought they were pretty good last year, and you know, I was pumped just about the win against Drake last year.
Yeah.
Here, you know, this year is blown it out of the water.
Their chemistry definitely is unmatched for sure, and you can see it on the court. One thing that did bother me was the game against Weber State.
Yes,
that should have been a no-brainer, and we ended up losing to them like crazy.
Yeah,
and I think
it was a tough game, but they flipped the switch and won against Idaho State.
Yeah, 80-70, what a blowout. That's all we have for you today. I'm Kyra Cook.
And I'm Thomas Dianella. Be sure to tune in next week for the season premiere of The Other Show.
Next time on The Sports Show, we'll talk about the 2020 SU football schedule.
Until then, we'll see you on Tuesday for SUTV News.